Hey guys, it's Zach from the Concon channel, and in this video I'm going to show you everything new in the Double Down update as well as some tips and tricks in Hyper Light Breaker. Now before we get into the video, I just want to give a massive shout out to today's video sponsor, Arc Games, the publisher behind the game we're diving into today, which is Hyper Light Breaker. They're the reason we're able to bring you this content, and just so you know, the game is still in early access, so there are a ton of updates on the way, and with the new Double Down content drop live right now, there's never been a better time to jump back in. If you're ready to start your journey, you can purchase the game using our link, which you can find in the description below. Now let's get back to the video. Now, one of the first new additions to this Double Down update is the new character called Gravenheart. Now, she is a 1-star difficulty character, and just for the general type of character she is more of a tank heavy hitter kind of character is the best I can kind of describe her. Now, her compatible blades are the Soldier's Light, the Bloody Pillar, the Vector Hammer, the Breaker's Buster, and the Zero Edge. Now, most of those weapons are two-handed weapons besides the Soldier's Light. That's pretty much the only light weapon she kind of has. And then for the compatible rails, it's the Grand 42R, the Blunderbuss, and the Burst Launcher. So from those weapons, you can clearly see she is a heavy hitter character, and she does a lot of damage. Now, if we just take a look at her stats, this is what her stats looked like before I fully upgraded her, and this is what her stats look like now after I've upgraded her. Now, just in comparison to the other characters in the game, she has the highest amount of HP points in the game, as well as the highest amount of armor, the highest amount of strike force, and the highest amount of crit damage, which is 200%. This is Gravenheart. She's a pretty cool character, so give her a go and let us know what you think. Now, in addition to the new playable character, we also have a bunch of new enemies, and starting off we have the new crown boss called the Twins. Now, in this boss fight, you'll be fighting a brother and sister twin combo, where the sister will be using a long-range combat system with a pistol, and the brother will be using a melee weapon. In this boss fight, you have to be really strategic, as you will have obviously someone shooting you at range, as well as the other twin busy meleeing you while you're dodging the bullets. So you'll have to be really strategic in how you use your environment as well as your setup and gear going into this fight. But this boss fight is a really fun boss fight. The concept is pretty cool, and yeah, that is the new crown boss called the Twins. Now, they've also introduced a new assassin called the Infiltrator, which is a gunslinger character, meaning that they carry a ranged weapon. Now, she happens to carry a pistol, and she is super quick and very tough to defeat, so watch out for her when you're on your runs. Now, next on the new enemy list, we have the new Wolf Elite boss. Now, this boss has two abilities, one where he shoots out a beam of the element he's using, and then he'll also shoot these 3 crystals with the element that he's using. Now, he is very fast, and he has a really good dodge mechanic against the breakers, so just watch out when taking him on, and look out for him when you're on your adventure. Now, next on the new enemy list, we have the Salt Devil. Now, this is a robot enemy that has various different abilities. Now, his main purpose is to stun you, because he usually is in areas where there's plenty of enemies or at a base. Now, one of his abilities is going to be him shooting fireballs from his alternating arms. Another ability will be him slamming a shockwave onto the ground. He also has an ability where he'll spin his arms forward if you get too close. And then finally, he has another ability where he'll shoot a whole barrage of fireballs towards you in your direction and wherever you go. This enemy is quite tough, so do be careful when approaching him, because if he stun locks you, there's a good chance you'll probably die. Now, another thing they added to the Double Down update is the new glitch difficulty system. Now, in order to unlock the glitch difficulty system, you must defeat the final boss in the cycle, which will be obviously the final crown boss. You'll also need to successfully extract. You'll then see that once you head back to the telepad, you'll now have the new glitch system on the left hand side of your screen. Now, in order to access this, you'll need to go to the telepad, and this needs to be on a fresh run before accepting to pursue the mission. Once you're at this point where you're starting a new cycle, you need to press triangle or T on your keyboard. You'll see that it says glitch bar, applied modifiers. You're going to click triangle or whatever the button tells you, and here you can pretty much apply modifiers to make your game harder. Now, these modifiers range from increasing the amount of damage that enemies do, increasing the amount of enemy HP, increasing the percentage in which enemies can stagger you, increasing the cost of leveling up, as well as some shops, and then also speeding up the world tier advances. These definitely will make your game a lot harder, but if you do choose to go the route of adding modifiers, you will be rewarded for adding the modifiers. And the rewards include more abyss stones as well as golden rations. They've also introduced a new weapon called the burst launcher, which is a grenade launcher that fires a large projectile which explodes on contact with an enemy or after bouncing off the terrain. Now, as a base weapon, this burst launcher, it's not bad, it's alright, it gets the job done, but it may require you to shoot a lot of bullets. Now, if you upgrade it fully through the vendors and you get a high rarity burst launcher, it is actually insanely good. You'll see here that it has bleed on it, and when I shoot it, it pretty much just explodes, hitting multiple targets, and they all just start bleeding at the same time with just a few bullets. Now, there have also been a few changes to the meta progression in Hyperlight Breaker. They've also added bounties which you can collect in the game at the Cursed Outpost. All you need to do is go to the telepad, and to the right of the telepad you should see the sky where you can go and choose your bounties, which you'll then need to complete in the overgrowth. But be careful, you'll only be able to complete 2 bounties per cycle. They've also added a new currency rewards, which are called bite shifters, which are universal rerollers which you get from completing bounties. These are artifacts that allow you to universally reroll holobites, affixes, vendor stock, and gear drops with multiple choices. Now, in the Double Down update, they've also added a brand new vendor called the Noodle Shop, which can be found at the hub. Over here, you'll find milers, and this is where you essentially are going to be able to craft these soups that will give you a buff for your runs. You would have noticed that during your runs, there are collectible plants such as ferns, garlics, mushrooms, and more. These are essentially the items that are going to allow you to craft your soup buffs. Now, as well, you can upgrade Milus's vendor by giving you buff sets as well as reduction on buff sets and unlock a new buff slot. You can get up to 3 buff slots, so that means you can obviously carry 3 buffs with you during your run, which can be really useful when going on those long runs with high world tiers. Now, in order to find this vendor starting from the beginning of the hub, you can then just follow me. But essentially, we're going to head towards the telepad, and as we get there, we're going to take a right, and here is where the Noodle Shop will be. It'll cost you 12 materials to investigate, and after doing 1 run and coming back, the Noodle Shop will then be open. Now, next up we have Skylabs. Skylabs are very similar to labs which are currently in the game, and they are indicated on the map with the white block and the key symbol on it, which is like the lab. But you'll just notice that it actually says Skylab instead of just lab. Once you get to this platform, you'll then need a key to access it, and once you access it with a key, it will teleport you to the Skylab. Now, this will be very similar to the labs. You'll fight a whole bunch of enemies and a bit more difficult enemies, and you'll need to traverse through the Skylab by using jump pads and a bit of parkour. There'll also be a bunch of boxes and a bunch of enemies in order to help you get some bright blood. Now, if you reach the very top of the Skylab, you'll sometimes find yourself a chest that will contain a core, which can be very useful for upgrades. Now, just be careful, these can be very challenging, so make sure you're well prepared before attempting these. They've also added new points of interest called the Ruined Outskirts Overgrown Building, the Arid Waste Wrecked APC, the Arid Waste Academy Library, the Jeweled Spire Clawed APC, Shattered Fortress, Large Fallen Tree, and the new Skylabs, as well as new caves. Now, one massive tip that I have for you guys is to find these glowing beacons around the map. These are really important as they allow you to open up your map so that you don't actually have to go into the area to see what's there. So for example, if I interact with this, you'll see that now the map is now opened up and is showing me this side of the map that was previously missing. Now, another tip I have is to always use these armor upgrade stations. Now, they only appear on your map once you get really close, and this is what they look like. But most of the time you will see them out in the open as they have a pretty unique shape. It'll cost 150, but essentially what it does is it upgrades your armor. As you can see, max armor increased by 1. So now we have 3 slots on our armor. Also, I recommend extracting if things are getting too hectic and you can't afford to buy medkit refills. It's super easier now to extract. You don't have to go through a whole combat process. So extract when you feel you need to and you are unable to progress to the next boss. Now, another tip that I have is to also always look out for these upgrade gear stations. They will look like this on your map. They're called an obelisk. And once you're over here, you'll then be able to upgrade any piece of gear. It's randomized. So you'll be able to upgrade your gear for a certain amount of bright blood. As you can see, I paid 150 and I got an AMP upgrade. So if you do have quite a bit of bright blood, I do recommend upgrading it that way, as it is a quick way to get upgrades on your items. Now the next tip that I have for you is to always collect the rail, the utility, the equipment, and even the blade item drops. Now these will be indicated on your map with those specific symbols I just showed you, but essentially they are going to be the skeletons laying around the map that will cost quite a little bright blood to unlock. But once you do, they'll give you a piece of equipment. Now, the reason I recommend doing this is because it also allows you to get different items you may be looking for on your run. Because obviously not all items are the same and they might not cater to your specific playstyle. If you don't end up getting the item that you want by going compare, and if it's not better, you can always just break the item by holding triangle, and this will give you bright blood and materials in return for the item you broke. Now, if you ever come across an enemy that has like a hologram over its body and you're wondering why you can't actually kill them, it is because you actually need to parry these holographic enemies in order for them to get out of their hologram state. But you'll see that once we parry him, he goes out of his holographic state. And there we go, we did it again. So that is how you defeat the holographic enemies. But yeah guys, that is everything you need to know about the new Double Down update in Hyperlight Breaker, which is live right now. So if you are keen on purchasing the game, you can always use the link down in our description below to go and get it. It's been Zach from the Con channel. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and thanks for watching.